The first manoeuvre of the Sportsman schedule is the double Immelman. It involves a straight and level approach, a half loop followed immediately by a half roll, then flying straight and level, a half outside loop, followed by another half roll, and an exit that is also straight and level. Let's look at the geometry of the manoeuvre. Geometry is important for all precision RC aerobatics, and the double Immelman is a good example of this. The manoeuvre should form a square of about 40 to 60 metres, with half loops at the side. The result is that the length of the straight lines are equal to the vertical height of the half loops. Another way to visualize a manoeuvre is with two loops touching each other, but with straight lines between them. The result is the same, with the length of the straight lines being equal to the vertical height of the half loops. The half loops should be of equal size and radius. Another thing that is very important in precision RC flying is positioning and centering. All manoeuvres in the Sportsman schedule are positioned on the center line. For this manoeuvre, this means that there is an equal length of straight line before and after the center line. Let's walk through the manoeuvre. Model flies straight and level for at least 30 meters. 30 meters of straight and level flight is required before and after all manoeuvres, and you are judged on this. But to ensure that you are settled and prepared for the manoeuvre, it would be best for you to fly straight and level for at least 100 meters before each manoeuvre. A bit past the center line, gently pull into a half loop. You would normally need to start relaxing the elevator a little here to preserve the geometry of the half loop. Continue until you reach the top of the half loop. At this point, the model should be completely inverted and level, and you should be directly above the point you started the half loop. Immediately perform a half roll to upright. There should be no straight line between the half loop and the half roll. While gradually reducing the throttle, fly straight and level. Then gently push the elevator to perform a half outside loop. The throttle should be about idle by now. Some more elevator is normally required here. Gradually start reapplying throttle. Continue until you reach the bottom of the half loop. At this point, the model should again be completely inverted and level, and you should be directly below the point you started the half loop. Immediately perform a half roll to upright. Again, there should be no straight line between the half loop and the half roll. You then need to fly straight and level until you reach the starting point of the manoeuvre, and exit by flying straight and level for at least 30 meters. There are a few extra points that are worth noting. When you are performing the half outside loop, it's important to complete the half loop at the same height you started at. For example, this is the height you started at, so it's important for the half loop to finish at the same height and to preserve the geometry of the manoeuvre. A technique that experienced pilots use is to note their position relative to clouds in the sky. In this example, our approach is directly below these clouds. So, when you are flying the half outside loop, you can use the clouds to position the completion of the half loop so that you finish at the same height. I mentioned before that the half loops must be of equal size and radius. This applies to all loops or part loops within a manoeuvre. In exactly the same manner, all rolls within a manoeuvre should be at the same roll rate. That is, one roll should not be faster or slower than another. Most of the time, the direction in which you roll is not important, so you can use right or left aileron. I mentioned before that the rolls should be immediately after the half loops, and that there should be no straight line between them. While this is true, you should not rush the half rolls. Let yourself get settled for half a second or so before commencing the roll. This won't be counted as a straight line. Further, if your model has a tendency to drop during the half roll, you might even start your roll just before you reach the top. You may lose a point for doing this, but it'll be better than the model visibly dropping during the half roll. The same applies here, and you should give yourself a half second or so to get settled after the half loop before performing the half roll. Let's have a look at the real flight example again. Straight and level approach, half loop, immediately followed by a half roll. Straight and level across the top, half outside loop, followed by another half roll, straight and level flight at the same height we started at. There's no change in heading at any point. The manoeuvre is flown smoothly throughout. And exit with 30 meters of straight and level flight. We hope you enjoyed this video and the other videos on the Sportsman's manoeuvres, and we hope to see you at a competition soon.